What's up, folks? Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I got a little bit of different broadcast for you today. I'm joined with 𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗶 from San Joaquin Valley Transparency, one of my favorite channels out there, keeping our public servants honest. And when I say public servants, I'm talking about the police. Now, I know this may be kind of different from my channel. Everyone knows I'm an open Trump supporter, but I'm also against anyone trampling on our constitutional rights. And police like to do that quite often, so we got to keep them honest, folks. I'm not about giving them unchecked power. Unchecked power is not going to happen, not on my watch, and not as long as I have a YouTube channel or any kind of channel. I'll constantly keep them in check. Folks, I got to just say this as a disclaimer. I'm all about backing the blue. I want to get behind the blue. I want to get behind the police, but I don't like these bouncers with badges, okay? And I've been a bouncer, and I've dealt with bouncers, and I've dealt with cops quite a bit, and most of the time I was in the wrong, and I'll say that. But there are some of these guys that are overstepping boundaries, and if they're allowed to do this, this could be a problem for America. David, thank you for joining me once again, man. I love having you on.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, folks, get your morning kick. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and working out and staying active. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. I wonder what else he does. And he did this just by making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Nino or by clicking on the link below this video. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Nino. And click on the link in the description box to watch the video now. You won't believe it. Just a reminder, folks, the legendary Chuck Norris is now a whopping 84 years old, and yet has more energy than me. I have to say that. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply focusing on three things that sabotage our body as we age. Watch his method by clicking on the link in the description box and chuckdefense.com/Nino, folks. All right. Let's get into this because I got to tell you, man, like nothing pisses me off than unchecked. Nothing pisses me off more than unchecked power and absolute unchecked power. Unchecked power, basically right. Absolute power, right? So, look, I've had some run-ins with the law my entire life, right? I've been arrested on both sides. I was a bad kid. So I know police. I know how they treat people. I've been on both sides of it, you know? And I come from a family of police officers. My uncle was the chief of police of El Paso. Bill Rodriguez, look it up. Bill Rodriguez, chief of police of El Paso. One of my best friends is FBI. Other friends are detectives. I mean, dude, I love the police. Okay, so that I'm going to put that out there first and foremost. I love the police. But unfortunately, if we're giving them too much power to take away our rights as citizens, we got to check them. They're our public servants. Right, Dave?
Right. I like to look at it in terms of they have this presumed authority over the people. And if we don't put that in check, they will turn it into unbridled power. And that's what we've been seeing. And so, yeah, you know, when I first started, I came out with my middle finger up all the time. But naturally, I'm not really an asshole. I don't really like doing that to people. So I decided to kind of change my tactics and ways and just start talking to them. Yesterday, I did I was recording police, and I had an amazing conversation with the sergeant. You know, I really don't like to call them sergeants because it's a military term. But I did have a conversation. At the end of our conversation, he said, you know, I hope to see you again.
You had a conversation after the one you recorded on that was live or whatever?
Yeah, and he called me his friend at the end of the day because I had recorded him a long time ago, and he's an avid watcher, and I've gone out of my way to teach cops the First Amendment because I've uncovered a pattern of cops not really knowing the First Amendment, and I think that's dangerous, not just for the people but also for the cop. We can't just give them a gun and a badge and say, okay, get out there on the street with this unbridled power and turn it in and do what you will with it. No, I think it's like the way I see police right now. It's like imagine hiring somebody at a mechanic shop who doesn't even know what a carburetor is. You know what I mean? It's like know this before you even apply for the job. I don't even think we should throw more money for training, kind of know some of these things before you even apply. And I think that's important. I think it's important for us and for police. And the sergeant that I talked to last night said that he would actually try to get me into the academy here to try to teach the First Amendment to the academy here. And a long time ago, I went to the police academy in Los Angeles, and when the sergeant came out and asked me if I would be willing to, maybe possibly teach a class there. And I didn't think I was ready, but since then I've spoken at a university. I've been on Nino Rodriguez podcast a couple of times, trying to get better at speaking so I can put some of my thoughts into context for you guys. So yeah,
So I think this
there's
should be the number one thing they learn going into the police academy. You know what I mean? I think this should be number one is the Constitution and understanding the citizens' rights. That should be first and foremost the first thing they learn. And what's sad is they don't know it. They don't know anything. They just know how to, detain people, arrest people, talk back. I've seen a lot of these auditing channels, man, and some of them I'm not going to name names. They instigate fights, man. They go out there and they really cause a problem for the police, man. I'm not gonna lie about that. I've seen some and I'm like, oh gosh, like, dude, why do that? You know what I mean? Like, mind your business in some of these cases. But um, like I've said, I think they should be recorded. They should know they're being recorded. They should understand we have a right to record them, and that goes with the First Amendment. So to me, if they don't understand these simple things of our rights, the simple things of being a citizen in this great country, because the first line of defense and offense is the police. And if they are there fighting against the common man, the citizens, and folks, I'm going to say this just the way I'm going to say it. If we're getting ready for something that's going to swing so far right. Okay. So we went really far left with this radical Democrat stuff. And now here we go. We got to, I understand the cleanup. I am not for illegal immigrants being in this country. If they came here unlawfully, get them out of here. I agree with that. But at what cost to our own rights is what we're going to talk about today. At what cost are they going to be doing this to where it impedes on our rights as Americans? Because I'm not for checkpoints. I'm not for being at a store while the place gets raided and it's interrupting my shopping with other people and their kids or whatever, dude. I'm not for that. I'm not about that. We're not going to turn this into a police state under the guise of we got to get the immigrants out. That cannot happen on our watch. And it takes people like David and myself to bring this out to the public so we can all watch this and make sure that this doesn't happen, because this could be how they secretly implement a police state, in my opinion.
I've seen this coming from a long time ago, and I've been talking about it. So really quick, I've gone viral throughout the nation. People know me, my channel, from sea to shining sea, from California to the New York Islands and the UK, Canada, Australia, different places around the world. But I never really, connected with my community here. So can you still hear me?
Yeah, I'm just
Okay,
sharing
okay.
the screen.
Okay, so I've never really gone connected with the people here. There is in Kern County where I live, there is an Instagram page called Kern County Activities. Shout out to them. Everybody sends them everything. Everybody sends them police interactions, fights, and all kinds of shit. And the guy has one hell of a sense of humor. He's hella funny. But on this particular day, this was actually kind of close to where I live. So we seen that Border Patrol was actually conducting traffic stops, and we seen them kind of and this, when I walked up to this, because I record government agents, right? And a long time ago, and real quick disclaimer, I'm not anti-police either. I do believe we need police to go get criminals, especially ones that create victims. And I'm not anti-border patrol. The way it's always been is you're here. If you don't have papers, you commit a crime, get out of here. You're gone, right?
Right.
And I also have kind of an understanding of where we might be, and I think it's profound what we're seeing. When I arrived here, I walked in front and I was recording, and the woman in the car was covering her face, and there was a bunch of border agents. A couple of them were dressed in uniforms, and a lot of them were dressed in regular clothing. And from my understanding, a couple guys went into that store a little bit before this, and as soon as they walked out, they asked him if he had any papers. and they looked a little bit nervous, so they grabbed him, handcuffed him, threw his food away, and they were laughing. And they took him out of there. And from my understanding, they were driving around in their cars as well. And so when I started talking to an agent there, we had a good conversation. I wasn't trying to interfere or anything like that because I really didn't know what was going on. But I asked them if they had a PIO. So they sent this gentleman here, David Kim, the assistant chief of the Border Patrol operations. And when he got there, I began to ask him some questions about the Fourth Amendment, how it pertains. And there was something that I learned along the way, and I just actually learned this recently. I'm trying to learn and understand the Constitution. They are massive articles, and it's kind of hard to understand some of these things, but we should at least try and begin somewhere, right? What I didn't
Right.
know is that everybody in this country walking this land is still covered under the amendments, right? And I think it's important for the people to know and understand that even if you're, regardless of your legal status and regardless if you're a foreign visitor, I really didn't know that until now. And but like I said, we apparently they drew a line all the way around the United States, and I don't know if it extends 200 miles or 100 miles an hour. And now Border Patrol can actually conduct traffic stops
See,
and
I'm not with that. I'm not with
put
that. That's not. I'm not in no way, dude.
Yeah, I'm not willing to give up my constitutional rights, for the Border Patrol to do this kind of stuff. And I've seen it happening along the way, and I will tell a quick story before I continue. I am second generation. My mom was the first out of 11 brothers and sisters to be born in this country. As a matter of fact, her family and brothers and sisters, they dedicated Tom Petty's American Girl song to her. Every time I hear that song, I cry because I miss my mom. She's no longer with us. But as I walked in front of that car, I seen the woman covering her face, and she kind of reminded me of my mom, even though my mom was American born. But my mom used to go back to Mexico and drive her brothers back and forth, to come work or just to come hang out. And all you had to do back in the day when you're driving through the border was just say American born. I remember as a kid, I would say American born, and they would let us through, right? And so I try to uh, weigh it all out and try to look at all of this through both sides of the political spectrum and stuff, and try to weigh it out and see where we're at. So when I got there and I started asking this gentleman if they were bypassing the Fourth Amendment, he kind of fumbled his words and just kind of made me see that what's happening. So there are a lot of things that have been happening out here. They're actually going door to door to people's houses. They are
And
conducting
this
traffic.
isn't California.
Bakersfield, California seemed to start right here in my hometown. Unlucky for them, I'm one of the guys that tries to get out there right away and records and asks
I was
questions.
gonna say, real unlucky for them, dude. Wrong place to be doing this stuff.
Yeah, and so yeah, man, it's just okay, so they've actually arrested 5 or 6 guys that just got released in Calexico. I don't even know if they gave them a ride back, but these folks had papers, and they also pulled over an American or a man who had his papers, been here for a long time. He just didn't want to give up his rights. He didn't want to answer any of their questions. So before he left, before he could leave, they slashed his tires. Border Patrol agents slashed an American's tires so that he wouldn't leave because
You're
they
telling
didn't
me
know.
the Border Patrol agents took it in their hands. Wait a second. They slashed a citizen's tires.
Yes,
They
yes.
slashed them
Hmm.
for what? What for? What? So he couldn't leave. Who was this person? What are you talking about, man? This is crazy. What are you talking
A,
about? This is insane.
a gardener, and it's all over the news now. And I was the first one to actually start recording. Not actually not. There was videos sent, but because of my platform, I went live on YouTube, and so everybody started kind of organizing, coordinating. People were telling me, "Hey, San Joaquin, man, we're following your lead. Where should we go?" And I was trying to put people on different areas of town to record their actions because how are we going to know what they're doing if we don't record them, right? And so people started organizing. Then we organized a protest, and then folks just started working together. And the Border Patrol agents were driving like maniacs throughout the town. They were going to businesses, and actually, this business right here, I actually helped the store owner trespass the Border Patrol. And so we started calling for businesses to trespass them because they were hanging around their stores, sitting on in plain clothes, sitting on the benches, and just jamming people up. And if you look nervous, they were looking at that as probable cause to detain you. And
Wow.
so it just becomes, you gotta think to yourself, like, how much of our rights do we give up to solve this problem? In
This
reality, I
problem.
think Hegelian dialectic where they either allow the problem to happen or create the problem and act like they're offering a solution. And there's something that as I'm watching all of this, right? And I gotta say, man, at being at the protest and everything, I see signs saying "fuck Trump," and I'm just like, it's frustrating because first and foremost, Trump's not in office. So could this
This
be
is happening on Biden's watch.
this is
Like they're
happening?
starting this prematurely.
Absolutely. So, could this be, in my opinion, and this is what it looks like to me. It looks like this is Biden's administration doing this, hoping to rile up the people to hate Trump and stuff like that because Trump's not in office right now. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so it is causing a divide. It is making people say fuck Trump and stuff like that. And when I was live streaming the whole time, I kept telling people like, let's right now, I think it's wise not to give Trump credit for this and not to blame Trump for this. I think it's wise to try to just document what's happening, ask questions, and later on we'll make decisions of who the hell is doing this, right? Who the
Yeah.
hell is really trying to take away our rights? And I think it's important to really try not to play the blame game, even
Right.
though if they're gonna put the blame on somebody, put the blame on the one who's in has the seat right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's the president?
It's
Who's in
almost
charge
it's
right now?
almost like it's much bigger than the president's the way I see this. And it is problem reaction solution. And I've already warned my audience many, many times they can attest to this. I've said if the pendulum swings far, far left, it's about to go far, far right. And that could have been the whole thing the entire time. That could have been the whole plan. Get the desired reaction from the people and then already have the solution. Create the problem, get the reaction, then the solution. And these border patrol agents, you can't. I'm sure they're like very. They have a lot of gusto in their step, and they're like pissed off because their hands have been tied for so long. They haven't been able to do anything. Just been a doormat, a welcoming service. So now being given this unrestrained power, they're like, hell yeah, we're going to use it. We're going all out now. And they're probably thoroughly enjoying this because they finally got the chance to get out there and start the deportations. You know what I mean? So I can see it from their perspective, but that doesn't make it right.
And they're acting extremely vile with the people. Like when they snatched up a couple dudes walking out of that store right there, they threw away their stuff and they were laughing. They threw away the food that they had just eaten. They were laughing. These guys were on their way to work and they put out a statement. And, in doing what they did catch a couple bad guys. They caught a couple guys that they hurt a young girl. They were accused of doing something bad. I'm not going to say it on the channel because we get,
Right.
and they did catch a couple bad guys, but that's what they put on the surface. We're only catching bad people. We're only catching criminals. But we're recording their actions and their tactics, and we are getting stories sent to us of people saying, they took my dad, he's been here 10 years and he's been working nonstop. And, what can I do? What can I do? I really don't have answers other than study the First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment, with your families, translate it to them, talk to them about it, and also record everything. I think that might be the ticket to freedom. And it's just, to me, it's sad. It sucks to see what's happening because
It's
look,
going to be
and
the
I
guerrilla media, dude.
and I can kind of go back into a little history about what I think is going on, and I won't go too much into it other than let me give an example. Remember the movie Scarface when they sent folks on a boat. I think it was the Mario boat lift, right? And in that Mario boat lift, when Castro took over Cuba, he was demanding that America pay for the sugar. So when the first boatload of people were people that were leaving Cuba, they came to America and they did very, very well because they're business people. But the second boat that came, they did have some good Cubans on there as well. I was corrected by a friend who told me when you say that, make sure you include that good people came on the Mario boat lift as well. But let's not forget that Fidel Castro did flush his toilet on American soil because America couldn't pay for the sugar. So he said, well, America said, send us a boatload of people. So Cuba said, okay, this time we're going to send you the people that you don't want. They flushed the toilets. They emptied out the prisons and they emptied out the mental hospitals and they sent them on the Mario boat lift. And that part is at the beginning of the Scarface movie. Fast forward, what did we see in the Biden administration? Okay, we did see a lot of buses coming in through Mexico and stuff like that. But who's working with either the Mexican government, the American government, the Biden administration? And I'm not going to mention what.
Cartels.
Okay, I didn't want to mention it, but hey, there it is. So look, who's working with them through so that they can do that? A lot of the people that we've seen come in the buses are um they weren't all Mexican, right? There was people from all over the world, middle-aged men, no wives, no kids. And we've seen a lot of this happening coming through, and they weren't just landing in California. They were sending them to New Jersey, Chicago, New York, all over the place, right? Busing these people everywhere and doing dumb shit. Just like after like the 𝗬𝗶𝗶𝗶 lift, that's when we've seen a lot of shit happen in Florida. So in reality, this to me looks like almost the same thing. And sometimes I feel like it doesn't matter who's in power if you really think about it. In this country, we have Swedish towns, we have Chinatowns, we have Ukrainians and Russians here. We have people from all over the world here in the United States. So it's not just, I don't believe that Mexicans are just the problem. There's been a lot of Mexicans here. And I'll tell you what, you know, being from California and seeing Mexicans and knowing families, you know, that have working class people. Don't get me wrong, there's bad people in Mexicans too. They do a lot of dumb shit out here too, but a lot of them are working class people. You know, they work and they pay taxes out of their checks, and they don't get taxes at the end of the year. And
Right.
so I'm over here trying to look at this like, well, shit, man, like let's weigh it out and try to find out what's happening. And they lied. They in their statement they said they're only going after criminals. And I see a lot of the comments. They're like, if they're here illegally, they're criminals, right? But if that's the case, why not go get all the people that they shipped out in buses out there throughout the United States? Why not go get
Why
all
not
those
go
folks?
after the NGOs that funded the movements, the caravans, you know, follow the money, because that's who funded all this. You
Absolutely.
know, because I'm not going to give up my rights because they want to bring in a police state through problem, reaction, solution. And that's what it looks like is happening here. I mean, could the Border Patrol have unchecked power? I mean, you're saying right now, then this is in California that you guys are
Right.
having checkpoints and they're raiding Home Depots?
Right. Yeah. Right after this, we left to the Home Depot, and they had already snatched up 30 dudes that were, you know, standing around looking for work at the Home Depot. And
I'm not against them getting the illegal immigrants, just so you know that, but I'm against them imposing on our rights to do
right,
so.
right. And that's exactly what we're seeing, what's happening. And I actually seen it a long time ago, before Border Patrol showed up in Bakersfield, conducting traffic stops, slashing tires, you know, laughing at the people in their faces, doing
Flashing
stupid shit.
tires, dude.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of lawsuits, and I believe that the people are going to end up having to pay for these lawsuits. So, I mean, like I said, it's not wise to either blame Trump or give him credit. Yeah, he's not even the president yet until the 20th, right? So I believe that people that are cheering this on might be cheering on Biden's doing. So Biden's will, you know, his what their administration is doing. I mean, you can play a little bit of the video and you know see the questions that I asked this gentleman if you like.
The agents over there to call somebody out. Hey man, were you called out here to come speak to us? You the PIO?
Speak to our U media?
Yeah, I asked one of the agents over there to call somebody out I can speak to.
Okay, who am I speaking with?
I'm just one of the people. I'm just a local journalist here, and so
Do
we
you
were.
have the name of the outlet?
No.
Well, so he thinks that you have to be part of an outlet.
Yeah,
Like you can't
yeah,
just be a regular citizen recording him. He doesn't even know that.
yeah. Freedom of press is you don't need credentials nor a press pass
The
to
freedom to
record and ask
assemble. I
questions.
mean, anybody
Yeah,
can do this.
that's right.
Um,
So then you're just general public looking for some information is what you're saying.
so you know the people do have. There's 5 fundamental freedoms to the First Amendment, right? Speech. I'm not gonna cuss you out. But I have the right to.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Freedom of press. So any one of the people can be part of the press, member of the press,
so I'm
right?
just asking to
Right.
know who I'm talking to, but like you don't have to tell me.
Right. I just
So-
have a couple questions regarding what's
okay,
going on.
okay,
So we
well-
were sent a message
Shoot.
saying that people are getting pulled over out here by Border Patrol, and that it's possible Fourth.
Bro, you intimidate these guys. You know that, right? The way you you come forward, the way you do, knowing what you know. This is very impressive.
It's an empowerment, man, and they can't take it away from you once you have it. And I think everybody
Yes.
in this country truly needs to empower themselves.
And they freeze when you have the camera out, don't they?
Absolutely.
Amendment violations. The only question I have really is, Fourth Amendment still stands, right? Do you guys have jurisdiction to actually pull people over and just to
So-
stop people
so you-
willy-nilly on a hunch?
So you know we have levels of reasonable suspicion that our agents will go through, and I'm not going to get into every single incident because I don't know every single incident what their articulable suspicion was for a particular stop, but that's what they're making the stop.
So does this person have to look a certain way, certain color of hair in order to stop them, or what's the deal on that? Does that make it reasonable suspicion?
No, we're not going to get into that because I know what you're trying to do.
What is that?
I mean,
these are legitimate questions that stand with the Fourth Amendment.
I understand that. I understand that. But if you're suggesting that we're pulling people over based on race or skin color, then you're wrong.
Okay, so you blatantly tell him like why you actually tell him why are you ask him why are you pulling people over? What is reasonable suspicion? So what are I know he's going to name it here, but what are reasonable suspicions, Dave? I mean, an expired driver's tag, or what? I mean, what is a reasonable suspicion? Because it seems to me like you'd have to identify somebody and say, "Hey, that guy looks like an immigrant," in order to stop them, right? Or what would be a reasonable suspicion that would go by code of law?
Just so you know, nobody recorded Border Patrol agents pulling over any white folks or black folks. You know, everybody that was being pulled over was, you know, same color of skin and hair as mine. You know, and I love this country, bro. I was born here. My mom always told me, you're an American, you be proud of your country. I mean, look it, bro, like I love my country, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't believe that, just because of the way I look, I should be stepped all over and, questioned about my legitimacy here. You know what I mean? I love everybody, and I want everybody to empty their hearts of the hate, on both sides of the political spectrum, and see exactly what's going on and what they're doing to us. And they're eventually, once they take away our rights, they're going to take away your rights too, eventually down the road. So
100%.
All right, yeah. So we did get a message. People did ask us to come out here and ask questions and find out. One of the things that we do is document and ask questions. I do not come up with the middle finger up, right? I'm not cussing you guys out.
I appreciate that.
And one of the agents over there did have an amazing conversation with me.
Awesome.
He sounds like a good dude.
Yeah.
Right, but it's our job as well as the people to hold you guys accountable, the government accountable,
100%.
right? So that's what we're trying to do, man.
100%.
We're not trying, no nefarious reasons at all, man. We just want to make sure that you guys abide by the rules too.
Absolutely. Right? Well, thank you for keeping us in check.
I appreciate that. So there are 5 fundamental freedoms to the First Amendment.
Now let me go slash some tires.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is the end of my live stream on that particular video, not this one right here as you've seen, this is just a short clip of the full live stream. I actually got the store owner to trespass the agent that was filling up gas, and he said that one of the agents had pulled a pump when he was in a hurry trying to conduct a traffic stop. He wasn't even done filling up gas. He just pulled the pump out, and I guess he broke it or something like that. And they just left like that. And there's, so, and the same agent that I recorded on that live stream is the same agent that was caught slashing tires. And it's just, yeah.
This guy or a different guy?
Not this guy. It's a different guy. He has like a red beard and stuff like that, and he was the one that was caught, slashing tires.
It's not an opinion. You can't answer that because it's part of your job. Yeah. You know them?
So, quick.
The 5 fundamental freedoms of the First Amendment. Before I get out of here.
Who's that, Dave?
So that is an agent right there, and just so you know, really
undercover.
Quick, an undercover, right? So when we arrived, they had the woman blocked in, and could that be a false imprisonment, right? They weren't letting her leave. They were knocking on her window. They had her there for a long time. And when I asked for the supervisor, when I started asking them questions, when we showed up with cameras, they had no choice but to let her go. All right. If they were correct, 100%, if these Border Patrol agents were correct in what they were doing, why did they let her go? That's because it shows exactly what they're doing, that they're not following the Constitution. They're not, if they know it, how are they going to follow it, right? They ended up.
So that lady was an undocumented.
We don't know.
We don't know, but they have no right to do that just to anybody.
Exactly. And the way this country has been with Border Patrol, like I said earlier, is you commit a crime, you go through due process, and they ship you out of here. In California, I have seen, especially my mom talking to, her brothers and stuff like that, throughout the years when I was small. A lot of Mexicans out here that don't have papers, they're working class people, and they don't commit crimes and stuff. There's people that get DUIs, they get busted, and they get shipped out of here. I have family members, my wife's family, who has done dumb shit, and they've been shipped out of here. My family members as well, they do dumb shit and they get shipped out of here. I have never had an issue with that. I have never had an issue with Border Patrol doing their job as long as they have due process, and once you start, you throw all of that out, and then you just go, like I say, willy-nilly on a hunch, just pull people over, I mean, that begins to trample all over the Constitution, all
All
over
right.
all our rights. Absolutely.
Let me just get your name real quick, man.
David Kim,
David Kim?
Yeah.
Do you have an employee number?
Assistant Chief.
Assistant Chief?
Yeah.
Of all of California?
El Central Sector.
El Central Sector?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What?
Five fundamental freedoms of the First Amendment: speech, press, religion, assembly, and petition. All right?
And we're gonna get out of here, okay?
I gotta give you props, bro. Like seriously, I've got to give you massive props for what you do.
Thank you, bro.
Hey, before you get out of here, can I get your name as well?
Elizalde?
How do you pronounce that?
Elizalde?
Elizalde?
So, Dave, are they leaving because what you did?
Yes, sir.
You're kidding me.
And this
You
alone
basically
right here-
scared these guys off.
Yes, and this right here woke up the entire town, and everybody's saying, I'm a leader, I'm a hero. And a lot of people started following my lead, and they said, SJVT San Joaquin, because I was live streaming on Instagram, and all of a sudden I have 1,400 people watching, and they're like, SJVT, let us know what to do, bro. You're the boss. Let us know what to do. And then they even started an SJVT support group. So they're like, you need to SJVT, can you make a protest or call for protest? And I'm like, look, guys, I'm not really good at organizing. I've gone viral throughout the nation, not really here in town. So I don't really organize things like that. I'm not good at it. So if you guys want to start organizing something so we can all coordinate somehow, I'll overlook it, but start something. And they're like, they started an SJVT support group. And
Would
all
you
of a
call
sudden,
this? Would some people will say, "Hey, this is ambush journalism," right? Some people would say that.
well, look, gonzo journalism is a form of journalism. I love gonzo journalism. I think a free people should be able to swear and say what they'd like. We have a bunch of different news agencies show up on scene. The ACLU, a woman from the ACLU asked me to come speak at a Know Your Rights event, and I did. And I just, we the people have the freedom of press, and a lot of people think you need press pass or credentials to be a member of the press. Absolutely not. And some of these reporters out here, they were cool with me. Like, I got interviewed by the news. You'll see it on the next video that we play. And some of the people that in the news are kind of dogging me out. I told them, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate your work out here. And, some of them were just like, and then later on they were, kind of telling themselves like, oh, we're senior reporters and we're abiding by the laws and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay.
Can't let the people know that they have rights not to say nothing.
Don't mess with hardworking people. They're just trying to live.
I don't think Bakersfield's coming together because they're going after criminals. I seen what
Wow, bro, you started this movement right here.
Yeah, and it let me just say, a couple days after that, it was massive, and I had to lead by example as well, because if I'm trying to call for the people to, and I'm not really, like I said, a protest leader or nothing like that, but once I did do that, I made sure, like, the people that started the protest, they went out there in blue vests with reflectors on them. They were making sure that people were not standing in the streets and committing crimes, right? They were making sure that they pushed the lights and walking people back and forth. I had to lead by example as well. When I was streaming, when the big protest happened after that, I kept telling people, look, guys, let's keep it professional. Let's not do stupid shit. Let's not commit any crimes. And they were like, hey, SJVT, should we call for should we start tagging taco trucks and water? Next thing you know, people are bringing out hundreds of cases of water, taco trucks pulling up, serving hibachi and tacos, free food for everybody. And I also called, look, and I had to lead by example. I started picking up trash, and I'm like, look, guys, let's clean up after ourselves. We're not dirty, man. We're clean people. You know what I mean? All of us. And I got to tell you something. First of all, I look at myself as one of the people. I'm nobody special. And I believe that in this country, once you create you want to go into your person, then you have to create a personality, and then you have to defend that personality. I like to consider myself one of the people, and when we the people get together, it doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are, I think we should be friends with all our neighbors. I think we should, unite with families and stuff like that, and just really try to understand each other and learn how to love, coexist, eat each other's food, learn a new dance if you want. But let's empty our hearts of the the hate that, sometimes, it comes from whatever far angles, and I just think that when we the people work together and hold government accountable, that shit wouldn't have happened with all the buses coming through. You know what I mean? When we give certain politicians or these, what I like to call political parasites so much power, this is what they do. A lot of times we don't know what they're doing until after it's done. But when we're out there recording, we were on them like this immediately. They had to check out after the massive protest. They checked out of the hotels early and they went to Fresno. And after a day, they started protesting over there. And I tried to lead by example. And even in my live stream, man, there was a youngster burning out in the parking lot. I walked up to him and I said, "Don't fucking do this. Don't do this. Don't burn out. Let's keep the moral high ground. The people have to stand at the top of the mountain always. It's God first if you believe in God, like I do. Yep. And then it's the people, and then it's the government. They are bottom bitches. We got to make sure that they understand that they are below the people. The people will always be at the top. And if we stand together and we learn how to stand together, we will always be at the top. And I'm not trying to, come down. I don't believe that we should get rid of government and stuff like that, get rid of the cops. On the contrary, the problem with government that I see is even if we get the bad people out of there and we get good people in, eventually there's going to be bad people coming in again. It's because the problem is there's no oversight. There is no accountability.
It's humanity.
It's humanity.
It's that we are fallen people. That's just the way it is. So, go back to Adam and Eve, you know what I mean? But so I'm going to ask you and really think about this because I'm going to play more of this video, but I want to also ask you so how do we implement the mass deportations? How do we do that without stepping on people's rights? So I'm going to ask you that. Think about it a little bit. I'm going to play more of this video and then I'm going to come back and get your answer.
Yes, the Border Patrol said as far as they're catching criminals, and they're going to catch a couple. And that's what they're going to put and post to make it seem like what they're doing is legit.
Our community, we have video of agents arresting an American citizen, a business owner, who says the agents slashed his tires before they handcuffed him. Our Cecilia Trevino has been on the story all week and brings us more.
This video, recorded by Ernesto Campos, a United States citizen, shows federal agents detaining him after slashing his tires.
I don't know why he popped my tires. He already had my reason. He already had my license. Yeah, but you did something that made him. No.
See, this could be another way they start the civil unrest too, David.
Yeah.
This is how they kick off some kind of civil war too, by doing this shit.
And the people are blaming
off.
Say that again.
The people are blaming the people, and
right.
and it just creates more civil unrest.
The window that's open like that. I'm not gonna argue with you, man. Okay. He did it for a reason.
44-year-old and father of 4, Ernesto Campos has lived in the U.S. for 30 years and became a citizen over a decade ago. He's lived in Bakersfield for over 20 years and owns a landscaping business with 4 employees.
Íbamos manejando hacia un trabajo.
He was driving to work when an unmarked car turned its patrol lights on.
I run a popular YouTube channel, San Joaquin Valley Transparency. I've been out recording cops for quite a long time. One of the things that we do on our channel is teach people their constitutional rights, at least the First Amendment. A lot of people don't seem to know it. I've been asking cops for a long time. They don't seem to know it. When I found out, I actually shout out to Kern County Activities. Pretty much everybody's finding out what's going on through them, it seems like. And so I found out we got some messages that the Border Patrol was in this area and they were willy-nilly on a hunt, just putting people over. So when we arrived on scene, we seen that they had detained a woman.
So is this catching fire nationally, Dave?
Yeah, everybody's sharing my video. Some people don't tag me, but it's all right, man. I think the message is important. I think the message should be heard, and it should tremble the ground from sea to shining sea. And I think the people should have the people's back. Look, if you're here in this country and you're doing good, like you're working, you're doing your best not to commit any crimes, okay. And I do want to say also as well, man, a lot of people send me messages. They should deport you as well. I'm American born, man. I think that's kind of evil natured, and derogatory to tell me that I should be deported when I'm born here. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's just kind of foul, man.
What do you think about people that have been here 10 years, haven't broken the law, and they have businesses and they're working hard, but they're here illegally? I mean, so that is breaking the law. That actually, but see, I look at it from a human
Yeah.
standpoint where I'm like, man, these people are trying to provide for the family. You can't blame them. You can't blame the people that came here in these caravans with families that were duped into thinking they're gonna come be American citizens, their lifelong dream. You can't blame them,
So
but
right.
hold on, let me
Well,
just finish this. You got to blame the people that funded these people, that duped them into this. That's what you do. That's it's follow the dollar, man.
right. And I do want to say, man, that I believe that Mexicans never left. We've been coming up and down, California to Mexico since, probably before the America. I understand borders. You put ants on the paper, you draw a line, they won't cross the borders. I get it. That's how people kind of stay in their areas. But the people never left, man. They were going back and forth. But I understand now, we do have borders and border patrol. And like I said, I'm not against border patrol. I do believe, like I said, that you commit a crime, then you should be deported, But the way they're doing it is a lot of people are not committing crimes out there. A lot of people are walking a straight line, doing their best. They're afraid. They're afraid to be deported. So they walk a straight line, man. They work and they walk a straight line. And I can tell you right now what's going to happen, okay? If they continue to do this. They took a lot of field workers out of here. They were going to the fields. They were going to the schools and arresting parents. They were going to stores. And so a lot of stores were emptied. They were pretty much harassing where Mexicans hang out, like at the Mercado Latino. And the next thing you know, the next day, the stores are completely empty. Walmart was kind of empty, taking pictures of people inside Walmart.
I've heard already, like even in Texas, a lot of people aren't showing up to work because they're scared of
Yeah,
getting busted.
nobody showed up to work for like a whole week out here because of that. Not nobody, but folks that were Mexican that were afraid to be deported, they were
And
not
is this
showing
how
up to
they
work.
replace them with AI? I mean, seriously, you got to think about every little problem, reaction, solution here.
AI is not going to do field work, man.
Well, they got machine. I mean, what?
So right now you could buy a bundle of cilantro for like $1, right? Pretty soon you're gonna have to buy a bundle of coriander for $10. I mean, it's just what we're gonna see. They were absolutely harming our community. Stores are going under, and I also seen something that was profound, something massive. When the protest happened, the really massive protest happened. The cops showed up on scene and they were driving through the parking lots with their license plate readers. They're legally allowed to do that. But they also went to go talk to management. And from my understanding, management told them, no, we're not going to trespass the people. So, like I said, when the people stand together in numbers, the people will always win. And what's
You
crazy is
suggest everyone take out their phone and start recording?
absolutely know the First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment right now. Everybody should know that, whether you're Mexican, white, black, Asian, it does not matter. Everybody should learn that right now. We're seeing that not very many people know these things.
Let me ask you this. What's your remedy then for what Trump's been coming out saying, okay, mass deportations, we're going to go and get this done? Like, how do we do that without infringing on people's rights?
Okay, so I can rewind. If we think about it, during term, he did do a lot of mass deportation. When Trump came into presidency, I was watching a Spanish news station called Univision, and a woman was speaking, and she says, when we've already paid. We've been on the wait list. We've been trying to come to the United States for a long time. We already proved that we're working class people, and administration did not let us in. When Trump came in, he closed the open border, and he started to allow the folks that had already paid to come in, he allowed them to come in. So do I believe that Trump is anti-Mexican? I don't think so. I don't believe that. I did see people speaking in Spanish being interviewed saying Trump actually opened the border by allowing people who had paid, who had proved that they were good citizens, to come in so that they can work. And he did close the border. So, and I got to say this, man, I've been following Trump for a long time, many, many years. And many, many years ago, Trump was going on talk shows saying the first thing I'm going to get rid of is going to be NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. And that was the first policy that Trump got rid of when he first came. And I don't know if you guys know, but NAFTA actually hurt Mexican people in Juarez, Mexico. When they started shipping companies to Juarez, Mexico, they sent leaflets and said, okay, we're going to hire your daughters, from 14 years old and up, we're going to hire your daughters. There's a movie called Border Town where it talks about this, where a lot of the girls came and they
about
really
El Paso or what?
What was that?
About El Paso? Ciudad Juarez in El Paso?
Juarez, Mexico, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Juarez is borders El Paso. Yeah, I'm right here.
It
This is where I
does.
live.
Right. So I don't know if you remember this, but back in the day during when all that happened, NAFTA was out there. They sent leaflets to the people Mexico City and all over the world and all over the Mexico and saying, we're gonna hire your daughters. You can keep your sons at home so that they can help you with farming, whatever, and we're gonna hire your daughters. So a lot of girls, young girls came and they started working. They promised them like 38 cents an hour. It ended up paying them like 15, 16 cents an hour. A lot of girls that were not able to work because they already had the positions filled, they were kind of hanging around, and that's when you had people take advantage of them, selling them for prostitution and stuff like that. They found mass graves of girls in Mexico. So
Yeah,
could it
that
be,
was huge. Maquiladores right here.
yeah, so could it be that Trump seen that problem and wanted to get rid of it back in the day and wanted to bring American companies back so that the North American free trade agreement could stop, what's going on? And so I've been trying to pay attention to what's going on. What's my solution? I think, back in the day, if you got in trouble, you get deported. But it seems like throughout this Biden administration, you could, even if you're undocumented, you get in trouble, nothing was going to happen. All of a sudden, they want to do mass deportation and just go after the Mexicans and the working class. Like,
I
wait
mean,
a
there's
minute.
everyone here. There's Iranians, Chinese. I mean, everyone's here. Those are the ones I'm kind of
Yeah.
worried about more because what are they doing here? It's not like they just came from Mexico to here. It's the ones that are kind of unique. So I don't know how they're gonna do this, to be quite honest with you, without infringing on our rights, bro. I, and this is not something we should take. This should be done surgically, not blatantly, not to where I don't want to be driving and see a checkpoint and have to stop and sit in line, show them my papers. They have no right to do that to me. I'm an American citizen. So this has to be done delicately and surgically.
Also, if we really think about it, Mexicans that have been coming here to work for a long time throughout the years, they've never really gotten like welfare or anything. They had to get out there and work. When you allow people to come in from all over the world and then you don't care, you're gonna say, okay, we're gonna give you money, we're gonna do this, we're gonna provide for you. Do you think they're gonna really want to work? Hell no. So in reality, back in the day, the way it was is we didn't have this border crisis. Nobody gave a shit. If you committed a crime, your ass is getting deported.
It was contrived.
Yeah.
It was
And
it was engineered.
yeah,
And is it two wings of the same bird? Folks, you decide. Leave a comment down below. Dave, I got to hop onto this other podcast, but I love having you on. And as you continue to do this, I'm going to follow you closely, and so will my audience. Go to San Joaquin Valley Transparency, folks. Give him a follow because he's keeping the Border Patrol and the police honest, and we need people like this. He's a hero.
one thing before I leave. Look, folks, um, I don't believe that it was Trump's doing. He's not in office yet. Um, and I think we need to try to leave politics out. I think we need to empty our hearts of hate. Let's find a way to work together so we can actually find a solution. If we're depending on government to create the solution, we're never going to find it. We need to look within ourselves, within each other. I'm willing to have talks with anybody. Even people that were coming on my channel saying they should deport you. I'm like saying like, bro, like that's fine what you're saying, man, but just at least try to pay attention, listen, so that we can all work together and find a solution. I don't know if we have a solution yet. I don't believe that what's happening right now to take away Americans' rights is a solution. I don't believe that. I think that let's all work together. Let's find a way to empty our hearts of hate on both sides of the political spectrum, and let's find a way to work and stop pointing the fingers at each other and start pointing the fingers at sometimes government that likes to do these things. So.
Thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you,
I
bro.
appreciate you coming on. San Joaquin
you.
Valley Transparency, folks, on YouTube. I'll put a link down below. Thanks, David.
You're welcome. Thank you.